My friends, good evening. Today we're going to talk about one of the bank's dirty secrets. So, if we had to list all the bank's dirty secrets, we could easily fill up a Paris area phone book. Today I'm just going to talk to you about one specific point. A lot of people have noticed it, a lot of people have suffered from it. Today I have a friend who had a mortgage loan refused by the bank over an issue of 200 euros. Yes, 200 euros, you heard that right. I'm going to explain why banks act this way. You all know that story where, for example, there's a lady who goes to the counter to withdraw 1,000 euros from her account in cash. She then finds herself in an office with the manager. We can't give you this money. We live in a time, generally they work under pressure, that's what they say. When time is short, trust is needed. We're living in a post-September 11 era, aren't we? As if today our dating system, right? It's no longer after Jesus Christ, it's after the year September 11. There's terrorism, there's TRACFIN, there's money laundering, isn't that right, ma'am? But that's why I feel I am obliged to ask, to demand supporting documentation. I want invoices, an estimate, something. You have to prove to me what this money is going to be used for. Otherwise, the bank can't give it to you. But sir, it's my money, yes. It's your money, but we look after your money. And actually, banks and financial institutions act as if they have absolutely every right. The police don't have as many rights. Why? He comes, cuffs and arrests me, takes me to the station, and I almost have more rights than him. I have the right to a lawyer, a doctor, to speak to judges, all that. He can't do whatever he wants. Except that the lowest paper pusher at the banks has more power than the police, for example. Why? Because we live in a world that is increasingly shaped around the unlimited power of the banking system. The banking system is enslaving us all. It is creating a world, shaping a world in its own image, where it has all the rights and we have none. Look, in this friend's story, he wanted to buy a property in France. So he started gathering all the supporting documents. You know, in France, just to get a municipal pool card, you need a ton of documents. You need your entire life written on index cards. Birth certificate, supporting document. Duplicata, duplicate, photocopy, legalization, form, photo, visa, official seal, stamp for a card at the municipal swimming pool. So in France, let's say there's this omnipresent bureaucracy. Bureaucracy, if you will, it exists. Why does it exist? There are simply civil servants who have to justify their existence. So the more civil servants you have, automatically the more bureaucracy you have. Doubling the number of civil servants in a country will automatically double the formalities. It's simple. They're justifying their existence. Now, once he has this stack of documents, as I was telling you, he thinks it's over and feels happy. Now, one of the bank's top analysts looked over all the transactions from last year and he found something. He found a transaction that he considered highly suspicious. 200 euros. This person transferred 200 euros to a Revolut account belonging to a family member who is a student. She is a student studying in France. She is asking him for help. He rushes to her aid, and he is going to transfer 200 euros to her Revolut account. You didn't know that this was going to trigger, right? The story that I'm telling you. What does the bank require? The bank states that this 200 euro transaction is strange, abnormal, suspicious, unusual. That's the word they used in the letter, unusual. So what they said is that they want the detailed, complete financial information of the person who received the 200 euros. So be careful. This person who received the 200 euros is not part of the real estate transaction. She is not going to buy this property. This is a person who is completely unrelated to all of this. And she is being asked to provide pay stubs, bank statements, the details of her entire financial life. Of course, she has every right to say no, and she says no, of course. She says, listen, you helped me out with 200 bucks, that was kind of you. Well, if that's how it is, if that's where we're at, well, I'm ready to pay you back, right? I'll give you back your $200, but I don't have to get involved financially or give my paperwork for your mortgage. I'm sorry. And the bank insists, no, for us it's suspicious. 200 euros. Ultimately, that's where the situation stalls. It's awful that people are made to go through things like this. Now, why does the bank do this? Why does the bank do these kinds of things? Make this kind of fuss for 200 euros, for 49 euros and 50 cents for such petty amounts. For such petty amounts, they start making a big deal out of it and mention international terrorism and money laundering and all that. Why? There is a reason, and I'll tell you right away. It's a reason rooted in cynicism, in terrible cynicism. But it's the kind of cynicism we've come to expect from these kinds of institutions. There's nothing surprising about it. Let me tell you. Banks, indeed, and this is not a lie, this is the truth, live under extremely heavy regulations. Regulations that come from France, from the European Union, from the United States, from various international banking agreements and all that. Which means that the bank has to make sure its services are not used for money laundering, for mafias, for dirty money, for corruption, for tax evasion. I'm almost tempted to say, then why would we use a bank for anything else? Because we know very well that banks are at the heart of everything I just mentioned, aren't they? A bank that would refuse this is like a hospital refusing patients. Although hospitals do refuse patients nowadays, but you get my point. So what do banks do? Banks, they're afraid of being audited. For example, that something from the past might come up. For example, someone arrives with a suitcase of money and eventually it all traces back to the bank. Then the manager ends up facing the financial crimes unit and they have to explain how they accepted that money. Right? A problem. So that's what they do. In everything that's called due diligence, the bank has a duty to make reasonable efforts, not a duty to guarantee results. And here, I'm sure many of you already understand where I'm going with this. What does that mean? When we have, let's say, just to give an example, let's say we have a representative of some mustachioed president for life from Africa or Latin America. Alors, this mustachioed man will send a representative, an envoy, right now. So he will send the envoy with a briefcase full of money. He takes Air France, business class, first class. He lands in the morning at Charles de Gaulle and he goes to the bank. He takes the money, right? Small bills. We put the money in an account. We serve him a nice cup of coffee and a croissant, right? And then we give him a bottle of whiskey because we know his boss likes that. And the boss is very well liked within the bank. So we give him a gift. Okay. Problem? Let's say that this story later on gets out, that it spreads, and that the gendarmerie or the police show up. What do? The bank has to prove that, in general, it takes measures to prevent this kind of thing, but that from time to time, indeed, we're not perfect. Despite all the measures you have in place, officer, to prevent this kind of incident, unfortunately, sometimes they happen. But in terms of resources, I can prove to you that we have deployed the necessary means. So here it is, the file. Mrs. Michu, 250 euros. We reported it to TRACFI. Mr. Mashin, he came, he brought 800 euros. Well, we reported that one as well. That one he asked for a bank loan. There were 200 euros that weren't very clear in the case, that were unusual. We refused the bank loan. So what the bank wants is a lot of documents to prove its good faith for the shady business it does. Yeah, that's the idea. That means we're going to have thousands of mini files, reports, records, all of that, showing that we're making efforts to prevent financial crime. This way, if there's a problem, we can show our good faith and say we followed the rules and did all we could. That one slipped through the cracks. I'm sorry, but we have proof here. Look, we file several reports every day. We've turned down several clients. We've closed accounts. We've frozen accounts. We've refused to give out cash. We've refused to take cash. We've refused plenty of things for small amounts that we monitor, we analyze. We're the ones with the magnifying glass. We're a serious institution. Now, what do you want? People, the world is full of flatterers, isn't it? The guy came with his suitcase. We missed him. He slipped under the radar. We'll be more careful next time, officer. Actually, that's the idea. It means we make a lot of people's lives miserable just to create files, plain and simple. To create files that prove our good faith later on. That's all. There's nothing else. Y a pas d'autre... No secrets behind that. That's just it. It's just that they bother you to prove their good faith for the big nasty things they do. That's it, my friends. It's very cynical, unfortunately, but that's how it is. These are institutions based on cynicism. Cynicism is part of their business model. It's not an accident. That's why. Thank you, my friends, for watching this video this far, and I'll see you in the next one. See you very soon.